What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to Juventus and its Champions League match day. Juve and Stuttgart set to face off today in Turin, and we're pumped up for this one. Full panel here, full house. Omer, Anth, and Anth. Okay, double Anths here today, and we're ready to rock. There will be the poutine saga has ended. Okay, we've all agreed to disagree because, yeah. Skanga's hard-headed when it comes to that. He will not break. He will not break despite the pressure in the chats. And you know what? I respect it. I respect it. Today, though, Stuttgart, I know what Anthony's going to say. Okay, I know what Skanga's going to say about them, but he is right. It's 3 points. Has to be 3 points in this one. We're going to cover it all. We've got a lot of discussions around players, positions, starting lineup. DiMarzio absolutely nailed the last projected lineup for our match. He's got his put out for today. We're going to cover it all together. First off, fellas, how you all doing? Are you guys hyped up for this match? Trim.
Nothing better, man. Nothing better than those Champions League match days. Looking forward to it. Should be a good game. So hoping to duck out of work a little bit early today and then go catch the match. But if not, got the old cell phone going. So we'll see what happens.
Ducking out of work, the classic Champions League tradition over here with the time zones. Got to do what you got to do, though, right? Skanga, you hyped up here today or what?
Got a bit of a headache this morning, so this will be an interesting show.
Well, you know what? Headache's better than agita, so we'll take that.
It's true, and Alex is already starting to piss me off, and we're only 2 minutes in. So,
I love it. I love it. Omer, how you doing, brother?
I'm already miserable, so it couldn't get any worse. So yeah.
Yes.
All right.
That's how you start your morning.
Omar.
All right. At least you're feeling something, all right? So let's go with that. Yeah. Let's go with that. Giddy up. We're going to say what's up to everybody in here. Renato, buongiorno a tutti. Let's hope for a banger tonight. I'm hoping for several banger goals, all right? George coming in 3-0. No nonsense today. And we got Merda to beat this weekend. Love it. Love it. Christy, ciao. Forza Juve. Ciao, Omar. Hey, there you go. All right. We'll just be chopped liver here. That's cool. Yep. Ciao a tutti. Let's get a good win tonight. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nikolai coming in here. Hello, all. And, of course, Alex P going at it right out of the get-go there.
Son of a bitch.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, so we got some things to talk about. Number one. Arda Güler not coming to Juventus, okay? Definitely not in October. I was dying, okay? So you hack into Juve's Twitter, and out of all the things you could do, that's what they posted, okay? So, you know, I don't know. I would have had something maybe about Arthur stepping in for the Champions League game, or like happy to see you back and finally gonna play with us again, and put like an old picture of him in different action, like do something like that. I would have done something maybe around Paul Pogba, something that would really fire everything up. But like a transfer rumor in October, and not just a rumor, but saying he's actually coming, was a little ridiculous. But I did have to laugh. I think there was a couple little follow-ups to it as well. If you looked a little deeper with what they were doing with the account, it was all around the Turkish side and Turkey players and stuff. So, yeah, maybe a little hint there of who was the culprit. But you've got it under control. I thought that was funny. Other than that, hey, all the talk was about players, our players, who to have in this lineup, who to have in this game, especially in the midfield. But a lot of talk around Kenan Yildiz. The talk continues around this guy. A lot of the fan base been thinking that he's kind of been ghosting for a bit. And many feel he just simply has to leave that left wing. And he has to play in the 10 position to be at his best. So we have to talk Kenan Yildiz, especially going into this game. And would you put him at the 10? Do you think it's positional? As far as why he's kind of struggling or ghosting, do you think he's even ghosting? Because Motta backed him in the presser and said he's doing everything. I'm happy with everything he's doing. He's working for the team, and he's working hard on improving every single day. He's got no issues, he said, with Yildiz. How do you guys feel about Keenan Yildiz? Is it a positional issue? We're going to start this one with Omer.
I have no issues with him, to be honest. I'm leaning towards Moto's side. Yeah, young guy, 19. The fact that he has the 10 doesn't make him a veteran immediately. And good, make mistakes, find out your style of play, learn some new positions, do whatever you need to do. But he's 19. That's the time to try it out. We knew ahead of time that we're having a young project, so can have an uproar where the young guys don't make it immediately. But I think he's been overall solid. Yeah, of course he can do better. Of course he can assist more, score more, create more big chances. But I'm really patient with him.
All right.
Like really patient.
There you go. And then Trim, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Omar for sure. I definitely thought that with Coop being out, even if it's just a few games, depending on if he can bounce back quickly or not, I'd like to see him in that 10 role just to kind of see how he'd play positionally, maybe get some more touches. Because I feel like on that left side, that's the biggest thing. It's not so much that he's ghosting. He's not getting the ball as much as he would if he's playing centrally. And that being said, when he does get the ball, you know, he's got the one goal to his name, which is a beautiful goal, of course. But other than that, he hasn't really been able to make too much happen. But again, like I'm not really so concerned about that this early on in the season. So maybe just trying him out at the 10, seeing how comfortable he is in that position. And then we can kind of go from there and see, you know, could he be a vice Coop or, you know, he can switch and rotate positions depending on certain lineups and certain matchups.
Yeah. So you do think that there's a little bit, not necessarily ghosting, but he isn't getting involved as much as at least you'd like to see.
I think personally, yeah, like there's been many games where I've kind of seen him out on an island on that left-hand side and he hasn't necessarily gotten the ball or they've switched play over to the right. So, I mean, he still has gotten some touches, but just I feel like centrally he will touch the ball more and get more involved and be able to kind of be more creative.
Yeah. All right.
If we're not going to try him at 9 or false 9 position, then yeah, I'd like to see him play in the 10.
All right. And then Skanga, Yildiz,
Yeah,
any issues?
Yeah. No, he's still young. We still got lots of time with the kid. I think with him, it's a weird phrase, but it sort of works. Situations are situational. I think it's just the games that he's been in when he's on that side, what other teams are doing, maybe to take him out of the game. So he's not a factor. I think we still have a lot of time to see what this kid has. He is not playing behind the striker over Coop Miners for me. No chance. So when those two are healthy, so we better get Yildiz figured on the left because he's not playing in the middle when Coop Miners is ready. Now, quick question for you guys. Would people still care if he wasn't wearing the number 10? Would there still be this much hype if he wasn't wearing that number? I told you guys that stupid jersey number, it switches people's minds. Like, well, now he's wearing the number 10. He should be playing here and there.
I don't.
Besides adding more pressure to him, I don't see any difference. Like the pressure is a bit on him, and I think the position, like the left winger, is where you can make some more mistakes, and it's excusable to learn there. Because if he flops at the 10, that's not good for Juve's attack. A lot goes through the center, and if he underperforms there, and then Juve's attack suffer greatly. Whereas on the left, it's not that bad.
And he's not hurting us out there. He hasn't hurt us yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much the number 10. I think that's a part of it. I honestly think it's all the guys in attack are getting highlighted because we're struggling to break down the bus. So they're all under the microscope when we want more goals. It's all of them. And when you have a guy like Chico who comes in like he's shot out of a cannon, then everybody's looking at the other guys like, okay, you got to step it up. You got to do something because, man, we can't sit here and always every single game be like, we need Conceição. We need Conceição. Like these other guys have to ramp it up too. So I don't really feel like it's too much about the number 10. The fact that he's 19, like we're going to be patient with him, obviously. Okay. Yes. But, you know, at the same time, you got to take care of business and you got to get the job done. Now, I'm not saying he isn't getting the job done. I have personally no issues with Yildiz and what he's doing so far. I've said a lot about positionally some more things can be tweaked that will help him, not just him, but anybody that's going to play that wing. And Alex P touched on it, and it's how we support with the fullback and using them more to the outside to allow him to move in centrally. But the other part of that is that's got to play in part with the midfielder. That's going to be more geared to the left side, and they got to make sure that they don't get congested. So it's still part of this chemistry thing we've been talking about. That's going to take time, and they all need to figure it out. But I still say
issue.
Positionally and attitude still. And what's funny is Perrin spoke so much about attitude in that presser yesterday. I don't know if you guys caught it, but Perrin, longtime supporter of the AJC, so it makes perfect sense, all right? He's with Berto on the attitude. But listen, Anthony nailed this one right on the head for me, okay? You have to figure this thing out with Yildiz at the left side because, Skanga, because Cole Miners is going to be the guy up there in that role. So if, for the benefit of everybody and what the best outcome is overall, is sorting out Yildiz on the left side. He absolutely can play anywhere across the top. I don't want to get into discussions that he can't play left wing because I'm not buying it for a second, okay? And he spends his time with the Turkish national side on the left wing as well. Coming up from Bayern's academy, the Primavera, he's played left wing a bunch in all those games. He was not solely playing at the 10 position. He can do it. We can sort it out. We have enough players, enough talent to make it work between Cambiaso, Cabal, Yildiz, and whoever the hell you put in the midfielder. There is good players scattered all across there. They will sort it out and put it together. I like the fact of what Mota said, just saying, no, he's doing everything he's asked. He's doing fine, and he will continue to improve. But in my personal opinion, we got to stop pushing the narrative that he has to go to the 10 because that's not going to be the best overall for the team. He's got to figure it out on the left side, and I think he will.
And there's no competition to speak of.
Bingo.
Like, it's mainly Mbangula, and that's it. He's our left winger. So, he kind of has to start. We've seen Mbangula against a bit better teams, and then it seems like he's a youngster. He's still not up to speed. And we don't have a lot of options, especially now. I have yet to see Nico play there or Conceição. He's like our starting left winger. And it's fine. I don't think he's been bad. It's okay to ask for more. But he hasn't been bad. He hasn't been harming Juve playing there.
And that's the biggest thing is that, honestly, every time he's on the ball, though, he is doing well. Like, he's dribbling, he's advancing the ball, he's progressing the play. Like, there are instances here and there where, situations call for certain plays that sometimes he tries to do a little too much. Maybe that's more of the number 10 coming with that and whatever. And in his mind, he's got to do a little bit more. But the one thing I said that I always highlighted, and this was immediately stood out with Conceição, is situationally, he doesn't get it wrong. So the efficiency, if Yildiz doesn't focus so much on the thing that the media pulls up, getting shots, hasn't registered shots, like, in all of this, don't focus so much on that. Just focus on efficiency with the ball, not getting dispossessed and just like making the right progressions. It'll all build up from there. But with the midfield and him getting opportunities, they do have to work on that because he can score goals. So
today is a great opportunity.
Yeah, Mota's got to work on getting wingers in better positions to score goals that they don't create completely on their own. For me, that comes with the fullbacks. Fullbacks can't just always go centrally. You do have to get them outside to push these wingers into the area, basically. That's where I want to see Yildiz do some damage. So I don't think there's any problem. We all kind of agree he's going to be just fine. It's just part of the growing pains here with a big shakeup, big change with roster and even Mota coming in. They'll be just fine. As far as today in the lineup with Yildiz at the 10 spot, we'll talk about it because DiMarzio's got someone else at the 10 role. In other news, Perrin, we know Perrin's starting. Di Gregorio suspended, but Perrin's in line for his renewal, and it is done. done renewal, okay, according to the news today. And I believe, is it outright to 2027 or was 2027 the option? Just trying to find it here.
Let me check.
Perin, yeah, it says signs new deal until June 2027. And that's from Fabrizio Romano. So he's making it sound like it's outright to 2027. We were hearing 2026 option to 2027. Perin's an absolute beauty, though. Love the guy.
Great.
Happy to
Great
have him in behind. Great stuff there.
to have
Looking
taken a
forward to
role.
him stepping in. And hey, we can do that. This is the luxury continues. When we had Szczesny, we had Perin. That luxury continues. And now having Perin behind Di Gregorio, you've got 2 number ones, and that's beautiful. Beautiful stuff there. Danilo was called upon to was favorited to start this game. And everybody was thinking it was going to be on the outside, and we were getting reports about Savona showing some struggles in some recent outings. I'm going to throw Savona in with the Yildiz discussion too, as far as I don't have any concerns. I understand he's had some struggles here, but I'm not overall terribly concerned. So the talks were of Danilo stepping in for this game. Maybe, just maybe, this whole play with that clause coming out of the contract, maybe that in fact was the main culprit for Danilo's time getting cut or everything like that, and maybe we start to see him play a bigger role. We talked at great lengths about Danilo and last game, how he stepped on the pitch and you felt that drive instantly, and you could see it in the way he was moving the ball like rapidly. Do you think Danilo's going to play a bigger part in this season now that this clause is out? Do you think 100% that was it? And how do you feel about it? Should he start taking minutes away from either Gatti or the young guys on the outside? How do you feel about that? We'll start with Skanga here.
Oh, okay. Interesting, because we had a good chat about Danilo on Sunday. The pre-game, whatever, pre-reported lineup with him instead of Gatti was interesting for me. I didn't know what was going on with that. I know we talked about it in the chat. Over Savona, yes. Over Gatti, also yes for me. For Danilo, I think we're missing a little something. And we went into great depth with it. So for me, it's just a quick yes, but I would like to hear what these two have to say about it.
Okay. So right away in the chat too, Tuna Steak says yes, 100%. Danilo should play a bigger role. Becalo just saying 100%. And then Matt saying definitely just not today. Gatti. Okay.
Just for today. Yes, definitely yes. Moving forward, we'll see how they work out.
So Trim, how do you feel about this Danilo situation? And should he be getting the minutes over, say, Gatti, and then on the outside over Savona?
So I think we know what we have with Danilo, and I think that the contract 50% clause was a big reason why he wasn't getting games. I mean, it's pretty obvious. You don't want to be tied to a guy that, is on the tail end of his career. I wouldn't say his role, but his play is diminishing a little bit, but he still has more to give than what he's shown because he hasn't really been able to show what he's got, right? If that makes sense. But that being said, I don't know if he's going to be taking away minutes and steady minutes from Gatti and Kalulu based on the way they've been playing. But what I'd say is, depending on the matchup and who we're playing in fitness, he can definitely play more, and that would give us the luxury of having to rest Gatti and or Kalulu certain games and certain matches, right? I think the biggest thing a lot of us have complained about with Danilo specifically is him on the right side as opposed to in the middle. I trust him more in the middle, and now that Bremer's hurt, we do need to use him more than we would have had to if Bremer stayed healthy. So I would say it's just going to be based on fitness and the matchups where I would use him more and more in the middle as opposed to the right-hand side. But again, Savona's a young kid. I'd say he's shown more than what I've expected from him already, and that's because he is getting minutes. So when Savona needs a rest or he's struggling a bit, we have the luxury of putting Danilo on that right side, but I'd like to see him more in the middle. But to take away minutes from those two guys, I'm not sure yet. I would say just base it on fitness and the matchups.
Yeah. All right. Omer?
Oh, that's an easy yes and yes for me. I like Danilo. I think he's a great player. I think he should definitely be part of their rotation, especially with the amount of games we're going to have. The only reason we're not seeing him is because Kalulu was such a surprise of how good he is that you kind of got to stick with him. He's just been phenomenal. But Danilo is a great defender. He was a great defender last year and had some really good games, especially against the big teams, Osimhen and all those guys. So, yeah, definitely part of the rotation. I like Danilo. He likes the club. He likes to play. Brings on some type of energy, like Anthony mentioned. I wouldn't play him at right back, but now that you have Kalulu, it gives you the option to play with all three of them. Savona was kind of a surprise. I thought he was going to be part of the 3-4 who rotate between them. And that's it. Yes, and yes, he's a good player and we need him. And after Bremer's injury, there's no question. Yeah. The other option is bringing in someone else, and how long till he settles in and gets into rhythm. So yeah, not a lot of options, and I like Danilo.
Regani won't need long when he comes back in January. He'll fit right in.
Yeah,
He
and
won't be back in January.
I pretty much when it comes to Danilo, I've always kind of backed him and kind of went against like the hate that was shown towards him because I respect him for how he's come in, the improvement he made after year one. We were like, get rid of this guy. What the hell are we doing? And then he just took huge strides into becoming a leader, a real leader when there was none. And the other guys that were so-called leaders just really weren't. And that ended up being proven. And here he is. And now again, he's set to make a move that proves he is yet again and still a leader. In terms of taking away the minutes from those guys, I think everybody's going to have their minutes taken here and there, really. I don't see it as a big issue. I see this as a huge positive because Danilo can provide the coverage that is needed through all these competitions. So the fact that you wipe the slate clean, you get rid of that clause, now you have yourself a guy that you don't think, there's no motives in anything now. Not from his personal side and getting the appearances, and not from Juve trying to protect their business. So now it's beautiful. Now it's a beautiful thing. Now you can have competition for the guys in those positions, and whoever gets the minutes, hey, Malta's going to have to keep consistent. Whoever, if you're doing it on merit and he's the guy that merits it, then it is what it is. But I'm not going to cry, piss, and moan over somebody not getting a start if Malta chooses that, because I got to trust that he is staying consistent with that merit system if that's the way he's doing it. So it is what it is for Danilo. I see it as a positive for the group. I know there's concerns about his play, his form. Everybody feels differently whether you feel more comfortable with him on the outside versus centrally. I think based on the way Kalulu and Gatti have both played this season, me personally, I'd lean towards feeling a little bit better with him centrally than on the outside, because we're going to need a lot of help on the outside. For me, the fullbacks need to get more engaged further up the pitch and help those wingers. I think Gonzalez has been the one that struggled the most because Savona tends to be out there with him, and Savona doesn't always. He does sometimes, and he does very well when he gets bombing up there, but he, for the most part, is the one out of all the fullbacks that stays back kind of in this stabilizing role. Cabal looked amazing. Cabal's more than willing to get up that pitch. Cambiaso's always getting involved, getting forward. I still say Cabal on the left side, Cambiaso on the right is my kind of 1A in my mind, and how I'd like to see us eventually set up at the back. And I think that's the best of both worlds. I still lean towards Cambiaso being a little bit better off the right side. So for me, that's the best. And in center backs, my go-to is still, to this point, at this point right now, Gatti and Kalulu. Do you have a different 1A backline right now? Do you guys have a different 1A backline right now?
No, that would be my 1A. But I still think, as we are a very, very young team, he's like the oldest guy in the team. His experience matters. And it's a tool we do need to use with a lot of new players and a lot of young players. He always gets the armband when he steps on the pitch. They immediately give it to him. But yeah, he would still be my first sub, considering
Yeah.
I know everyone is performing right now.
There you go. There you go. Now, Danilo. We spoke about Danilo just now, saying, he had such a rough first year. Really, really bad, to the point where we're like, hey, we gotta move out. And here's a great comment from Skippy. Morning, Skippy. Danilo. First year was shaky. That's why we need to give Douglas Luiz time and have some patience. And we talked a bit about this on the last show, Ant and I, because there's a fine line where patience, runs out at Juve and you turn into that scapegoat, you turn into that guy, that whipping boy, right? Everybody's different for when they hit that time. But Douglas Luiz, based on the last start, everyone knows where Skang and I stand on that performance. Last game we talked about post-match. We didn't hear Trim and Omer. So, guys, what did you think of his performance in the last match? Would you go back to him in this game immediately? So, let's start with Trim. How'd you find Luiz's match, last one? Would you go back to him starting in this one?
I thought he was better for sure. And I'm on the side of, I want to stick by this guy because we did just pick him up and he's on a longer term contract. So I want to give him at least a season before we start, pressing the panic button and wanting to ship him out. So, but in terms of going right back to him today, I would, strictly from the standpoint of getting him minutes and kind of instilling some confidence in him and belief that, hey, like, you're still going to be our guy, whether you're starting every game or coming off the bench. Like, we need you out there as well. And I did think he was a lot better the last game. So against a team like Stuttgart, I don't think he's going to necessarily hurt us. Now, we'll have some smart ass comments in the comment section. I'm guessing about the handballs and the PKs and all that. But I mean, the guy's trying out there. Just give him a chance. His quality is there. You can see him. He's patient with the ball and he can distribute. And I know we'll probably dive into it with the rumored or projected starting lineups, but if he is higher up the pitch, I think it's like he's better off being higher up the pitch. So in this case, filling in for Coop right now, and maybe in that 10 position or just higher up in the middle of the pitch, he can utilize his strengths and his skills. He's a good passer of the ball, and he can hold on to it pretty well. He doesn't usually get knocked off the ball too easily. So yeah, I'd like to stick with him this game for sure, and I'd start him.
All right. Omer, your thoughts?
I thought it was better in the last game. Again, some time to settle in. No, 9-10 games is not enough. Rabiot got 3 years to start performing. I'm tired of saying patience. It's not been good. The players have also turned it around. The first 10 matches at the club doesn't determine your fate and
let's put it this way, okay? So I'm going to highlight this comment, not to pick on Becalogi, yes, okay, but what patience, 7+2, if you wrote players off in 9 games, there'd be some fantastic names and players.
He put his age on there. Look at
listed,
the age.
Okay.
He's 26.
And
oh my God,
there is a difference between leagues.
There's
and
so
one
much.
Good season at Villa, no, it was multiple, and the last one was actually much better than the first good season. It's not.
He's only 26.
I can't get behind that comment. I think there's a little patience needed. But to your point, we all kind of agreed it was a little bit better last game. Okay, but that elbow to the back was
stupid.
Stupid. And that was a
so
sign
Brazilian.
to me. That was a sign to me that, because it could have all got blown up. He could have got sent off, and then it's all back to the doghouse, and it's arguably worse than the 2 PKs given, which you can give a little more leeway. But in a game, you're chasing a goal, you're chasing the 3 points. To do that and potentially risk yourself getting sent off, put us down to level men with Lazio there when you're pushing for the goal, would have been absolutely catastrophic for him with the fan base and everything where he's going. So mentally, he's not at the level mentally yet where we need him. But in terms of the play,
do you know how many red cards I saw Edgar Davids get? And you're just like, what the hell are you doing?
Montero had
Montero,
some
yeah.
reds where you're like, buddy.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Like, just those guys are like borderline like legends. You know what I mean? In all of football. They were taking red cards like I used to eat chips. Like
Dude,
it was
Sergio
like,
Ramos.
And listen, Luis
Ramos?
might not get it right. He might struggle his entire way with Juve, and we got to move
Maybe.
on. But I'm just saying, I'm not at the point of writing a guy off at 9 games. That's all I'm saying. If some of you are, hey, that's cool.
Awesome.
Go with it.
Great.
You know.
I hope you're
fire
wrong.
away. But today, I will say this.
Cheers.
Today, I had a different midfield that I was set to play in this game. And it was, funny enough, I always said I didn't want to see Locatelli and Fagioli share the pitch. Definitely not as pivots. But in this one, I would have went Thuram and Locatelli with Fagioli advanced. So Fagioli, Thuram advanced ahead of Locatelli stabilizing. I would have probably done that. And it's not to knock Luis. I would have went that route. Because I'm ready, and you guys could see with the thumbnail and whatnot, I'm ready for Fagioli to finally take this next step. That was another great appearance against Lazio where he stepped in. He started pulling the strings better. He didn't get the tempo right until Danilo came in. And then all of a sudden, he was really, really threading the needle and breaking the lines. I'm ready for Fagioli to kind of do this. I'm hoping he can. But I think today, he's going to get a shout in probably the heart of the midfield. And I'm down with it. But this is a big opportunity for him to kind of prove I can take the reins and actually take that next step. Because there's one thing with playing there, which we know he can, but now it's time for that influence to ramp up. I want to see that influence, that impact actually take the next level. Not just, play there and go through the motions and be able to play in there. I want to see him actually have serious impact. And I believe he can do it. But for me, we'll talk about the projected lineup. I'll just throw it out there. Let's get into it. It's Perin, Savona, Kalulu, Danilo. So Kalulu and Danilo as your center backs. Cabal on the left side getting a follow-up. Love that. Fagioli in the heart of the midfield. McKennie and Douglas Luiz advanced. And you're going to have Yildiz on one side, Conceição on the other, Vlahovic up top. So Fagioli being in the heart of the midfield, all for it. McKennie, we didn't spend a bunch of time talking about McKennie in the last one, myself and Anthony. He was mentioned in the comments saying you guys forgot about McKennie. Again, I think Thuram will, as time goes on, show you more. But it's not a knock on McKennie. It's just technically, Thuram is a very, very good player. And he can bring you the physicality he kind of showed. Yeah, I think over time, Thuram will develop into that guy. But McKennie has done well so far. I have no problems with him in there. Luiz follow-up. This is another big game. Every game's going to be big for Luiz there. But Fagioli, do you guys feel the same? It's time for him to ramp it up and start to have that impact and take over that. I think that spot's for the taking. And he could lock himself in.
No, I actually like the rotation that's going around the midfield all season.
Got no problems with it.
Yeah, the only issue Douglas Luiz might have is that everyone else is actually performing, especially Locatelli, and Fagioli has really kicked into gear in the last few matches. Thuram, I think, was great. I wouldn't start Luiz today. I would do what you suggested, like with Thuram, Locatelli, and Fagioli up top.
Yeah, Thuram and Fagioli advanced ahead of Locatelli. I would have went that route, but McKennie and Luiz, yeah, that's they'll have to show their stuff here. But Conceição will be taking on men, and he will draw that extra defender, and that'll open up space for everyone else. McKennie, if he's most likely gonna be playing on the same side as Conceição. He's got to take advantage of that, and we know McKennie's got the energy, so he will be driving forward. He will be getting into those spaces. Conceição, I hope, can get everybody else kind of a little bit more space. Hopefully Vlahovic. We heard in the behind enemy lines, Stuttgart, from their fans, Travis from Stuttgart Americana podcast, he said they're worried about Vlahovic. They're like, he's a machine. They don't keep, they haven't been keeping clean sheets. So he's like, I don't know if we can stop him. Hopefully we can get him firing in this one. Hopefully we could just build up the confidence for the next game in Serie A. This one has to be 3 points, though. We all agree. Has to be 3 points.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. So for the lineup, I like how, to Omer's point, how there's the rotation, because I don't see Luis playing against Inter on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I don't see McKennie playing against... I like McKennie in Champions League. I think the Champions League suits his style more. And he's another player who, on us, we haven't mentioned him, his game hasn't dropped off this year. It hasn't been excellent, but he's just been, getting the job done.
He was huge against Leipzig. Against Leipzig.
So I think he suits more the Champions League style. So I can see Thuram, Koopmeiners coming back for Sunday. Maybe that's why they're playing Luis today, hoping that he comes back for Sunday. So this is a complete, for me, this is a Champions League lineup, and then we're going to see our Serie A lineup come out for Sunday.
Yeah. And maybe that's just it. And same thing with Danilo being in the center back role. Probably, keep Gatti rest. There's a weird situation around Gatti. We kind of tuned into it and talked about it yesterday in the team chat, because it was like, Spalletti made this weird comment when he wasn't selected for the last, as we're saying, he's dealing with something. There's no sense in taking guys that aren't 100. And we're like, well, he just played like a full 90 before that. Like, he was playing fine. There was no reports. No journalist touched on it. Juve didn't make any comments. And Spalletti was insinuating that there was a problem physically with Gatti. But, all of a sudden, maybe there is something that they're keeping hush-hush. We don't really know, but I'm not really too concerned about it, and I would expect Gatti to be there at the start against Inter. I think you'll see Gatti and Kalulu. But Danilo is an interesting one to watch because of the latest developments, all right? Getting into this matchup, when we look at the opponents, Stuttgart and Skanga, of course, breaking balls as always. Get out the bike pump for this German side, okay? Stop it. Leipzig and Stuttgart, completely different, okay? Like I said, on our show with Skanga on Sunday, 9th in the table in Germany. This one has to be 3 points. We're at home. No disrespect to them whatsoever, okay? But we have to win this one. From their side, they're out some key players for themselves, so Honus is going to have to deal with the absence of several first-team players. Zagadou, Furic, Stergio, Narte, and Deal are all out for him, which is a big deal. He's going to have to make do. We're expecting 4-2-3-1. Nubel, Stenzel, Raut, Chabot, Mittelstadt, Karazor, Stiller, Mio, Undav, Lewling, and Demirovic. So that's what we're expecting for them. In terms of what's going to be best for them, the keys to success, Travis on Behind Enemy Lines said the press. Pressing Juve, the counter press, and moving quickly. He said if we can do that, we'll be able to at least make life a little bit difficult for Juventus. Still in his prediction, though, he said, unfortunately, for their side, he sees a 2-0 victory for Juventus. It's going to be a difficult matchup for Stuttgart. Stuttgart did give Real Madrid a serious go where Real Madrid had to win that one late. They are capable of creating problems. Stuttgart could have had several goals in that game because they did exactly what Travis said, which was create turnovers. If they can do that, win the ball back quickly. Funny enough, 4-2-3-1, high press, fighting to win that ball back immediately sounds very familiar, right? Sounds exactly like one of Motta's main philosophies in how he wants to see the game played. Will they do it full throttle in Turin today? Let's wait and see. But again, we're all on the same page. This has to be a victory for Juventus. This is the first competitive matchup between these clubs as well. So if you're looking for stats or numbers behind it, you ain't going to find anything, okay? This is the first one. Now, it's time for the prediction challenge. You guys know the drill. Final score, 2 tiebreakers, and I'm going to leave this one open. Who wants to kick us off on this one? And we do have to take Skanga's notes on the official, who we're going to see calling this one.
So I'll start. So there's some other stats I saw out there this morning. Is it OptaStats? There's that one Twitter website that comes out with all the stats. Juventus wins this game. That puts them on 9 points. That essentially almost guarantees them into the knockout round because 11 points will get you in there. Preseason, I thought we said 16 will get us into the top 8. They're predicting that 15 will get you into the top 8. So, we're not like complete boneheads here. I think we do an all right job. Sometimes we know what we're talking about.
I called the October undefeated, and we are on track for October undefeated.
So did I.
Let's keep it undefeated after this one, okay? But predictions. Oh, the official and then predictions.
Yeah. So the official is Espen Eskes. He's a Norwegian.
That sounds made up.
No offense to any of the Norwegians in here. I know we have some people in Norway.
The list of names from
okay,
Stuttgart.
So I'll give you his stats first, and then you guys will remember who he is once I give you the final information. So he's refereed 167 matches in the Norwegian First League. No slouch. 36 years old. He's been around. He averages 3.3 yellows per game, so he keeps it in the pocket. Over those 167 games, 11 reds, 46 PKs. So he doesn't flash the colors very often. He's done 7 Champions League games, averages about 4 yellows per game, 1 red, 1 PK in those 7 games. So low. Now,
very lenient.
I looked up his picture. I was like, man, this guy looks familiar. So I looked up his recent game stats. He was the referee in the Italy-Belgium Nations League game last week.
Okay.
He didn't do a bad job, so I don't think he's going to be much. Well, I thought the red card was a bit of a bad call, but whatever, it is what it is. So I'll just say I don't think he's going to be much of a factor today based on these numbers.
No, and he really shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
This one's in our hands. We got to take control.
We're getting ready to the predictions. You guys ready for it? I'll just
start. Yeah, I'm ready.
Fire away.
So Juve's big favorites here, so they're plus 100. Draw is plus 250. Stuttgart plus 270 for the win. As far as predictions, I'm going to go with a 3-0 Juve win for plus 1800.
Damn.
I'm going to go Dusan plus 150 to score. Conceição plus 320 to score. Third goal, I don't know yet. I'm going to go with Omer's vague. Omer likes his vague, random predictions. So I'm going to go the third goal is going to come from a substitute. I'll say that. I'm also going to take Juve halftime win for plus 150. And I'm going to take first half goals over 1.5. So I think we come out banging.
All right. Let's go. Trim, you're up.
Ooh, on the hot seat here. Okay. So full disclosure, Skanga did take my score line, but I will kind of pivot on the fly.
Always happens.
It's okay. It happens. I did it the last time out, so little payback. So I'm going to go 2-0 Juve win. Goal scorers, I'm going to say Vlahovic and Fagioli. That's my first tiebreaker. Second tiebreaker, I'm going to say that we're going to blow the doors off in the first half, get both goals, and then just cruise control through the game. And yeah, if they're going to be pressing, that just means that we got to move the ball faster and just hit them on the counter if they're going to be trying to run at us and attack and get the ball off us, right? That plays right into our hand. Like, we've been stressing the last couple games specifically that we want to see our guys move the ball quicker and just be more quicker in decision making. So this is kind of playing right into our hands. So let's see if the boys can put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and just guns blazing, man. Let's go.
It's a good omen when the two Tonys are on the same wavelength. That is trouble for the other team. I like it.
Yeah.
It's trouble for
3-0.
somebody. Omer.
Yeah, sure.
You're
Yeah,
up, buddy.
3-0. 3-0 seems like a good bet. I'm going to go with 4-1.
Bingo. Love it.
4-1. And I'll tell you why.
Sure.
From what I've seen, like the tactical analysis of Stuttgart and the way they play, they attack in like a way of 2-4-1-3. But when they defend the 3-5-2, and that shift takes them time to do on the pitch, which leaves the gaps wide open on the wings. So Yildiz and Conceição, they are going to have a field day today if you manage to break out of the press. And I think they will. I think it's going to be an easier one than expected. So yeah, I have no money on it. So 4-1 seems like a good guess. I can say
I do.
5-1, 7-1. Yeah, but you're going to lose it. So like you always do, by the way.
Oof.
All right.
And that's it.
So
True.
it's all up to Alberto here. Eh? We got a 4-2 in from Swery. We've got 3-0 tuna steaks. Great handle. 2-0. Pekaloje here saying, considering we might play with 10 men with a slow implant on the midfield. Oh my God, take it easy. Adam's calling a Luis goal. 3-0. George 3-0. Taram goal. And a goal from a set piece. Okay. I like it. So the score lines. I mean, we got 3-0 from Skanga, 2-0 from Trim, 4-1 from Omer. You know, sometimes with the predictions, it helps with a crystal ball, but I don't have a crystal ball, but I have this big bastard.
Crystal Cup.
So
Bring it
let's
up.
see what this big bastard maybe. And I wish I could get the real size. I couldn't get the actual replica size, so I had to deal with some a little bit smaller, okay?
The mini.
What do you think today, you big bastard, you big-eared bastard? What are you telling me here? What are you telling me? 4-0 Juve.
You're a horse's ass.
Still getting the clean sheet. We're bagging 4. I can't go on 3 goals because Skanga's got it. Can't go 2 with Trim. It's going 4-0, baby, okay? Yeah, we're blowing the doors off this bastard today. 4-0. Vlahovic is going to find himself on a brace today. Stuttgart's worried about stopping him. I would be too.
This plus 450 to score first. Sorry.
This game's going to be set up in a manner that I think they will not show up and just simply not try to implement their game whatsoever. Okay?
They have to win. They're in the relegation zone.
This isn't an Italian side here, okay? So they're going to try to create problems. It's going to open up space. We've got Conceição out there. Yildiz will also have space and I feel look better than he has in these clampdown games. We're going to get it going. I'm looking to Fagioli to really have a game and put in a hell of a shift, and I think he is. He's starting to, make this climb. I look for today to continue. Luis, this is a chance for you in a game to that you'll have more space than you've been allotted in the matches before. You really got to show something today, because if you don't today, it's going to be an issue if you don't today. Okay, McKennie, I don't have an issue with McKennie. He will have space because he's going to play on Conceição's side. We've got everything there to dominate, to take control of this game. But the one thing that I liked hearing was Perrin talk about attitude today in Champions League and in Champions League in general. Against Leipzig, we showed attitude. We showed that intent. And this is the problem I'm having personally. And I spoke to this on Sunday with Skanga on our show. I said, I need to see the attitude consistently. Whether you're in Italy or you're in Champions League, I don't want to wait till the 73rd minute and enters Danilo, and he's the guy that shows what it should be like at that moment in the game when you're chasing a goal and actually passing the ball, putting some damn heat on it, and moving it quickly. I don't want to see guys hold the ball and sit there and wonder and double clutch because they're not sure if they should thread the needle there. Take the risks, take the chances, push for the goal. Today at home, this one is a must win. I want to see us dominate and dictate this game from the outset. And Fagioli will be crucial in helping with that too. I'm all about this. And you know what? I think the team goes out and shows that attitude at home. They're going to follow up, and it's going to... I have a good feeling this is going to be the confidence builder we need going into the weekend's matchup, which will also not be a clamp down game. So
I just took Dusan to score a hat trick. Now, he almost did it last game. He had 2. That was a plus $10,000 bet. Today it's only a plus 5,000. Has Dusan ever scored a hat trick for us?
No.
No, he hasn't.
I thought he got one. I thought he got one. No, you might be right.
He's had doubles a lot.
He's had a bunch of braces.
Take him out.
Yeah. He actually had the most double in Serie A.
So I saw that stat line on Vlahovic, and it's funny because the outlook is so different, but the numbers are almost identical between goals and assists through 110 matches with Juve versus 108 with Fiorentina. They're spot on. You've got like 48 or 49 goals, and you've got 1 assist versus like 4 or 5 or 8 or something. Like, they're practically spot on for numbers. And it's just funny to think about the outlook, because at Fiorentina, he's the next big thing. And then now all of a sudden it's like a lot of doubts fall on him. And it's just interesting. But that, in a nutshell, is life at Juventus.
Exactly.
That's life at Juventus. But for the most part, I think we've been pretty bang on in the fact that there are matches that will highlight the shortcomings there, because every player, no matter who the hell you're talking about it, has weaknesses. His show up, unfortunately, in the majority of the way teams play Juventus. But in Champions League, he'll have a time to shine, and he'll have opportunities to shine. And I think today it'll be a good game for Vlahovic, a good one for him to show his stuff, and I hope he does. Well, like I said, I bagged him for a brace there, and Conceição definitely finding his name, either with a couple apples, maybe even a goal to himself, but he's going to get on the score sheet too. I would love to see one of the midfielders bang a goal, either McKennie or Luiz. Should both of those guys be in the starting lineup, I want to see a goal from a midfielder in this game. I want to see us look dangerous on set pieces again. So I'd love for a set piece goal here. Okay?
Need it.
Even if it hits one of their asses and goes in, just get a goal off a set piece, damn it. Let's start to be threatening there again, because that helps out tremendously in Italy with those clamp down defenses. You've got to be better on set pieces. Guys, get the likes in.
By the way,
we got Storm the Barn. Omer?
Which is Stuttgart's strong point.
Yep.
They have the most goals out of the entire Bundesliga from set pieces. We have not conceded, I think, from set pieces just yet. Well, there's a penalty against Leipzig. But yeah, have to be wary of that.
There you go. Storm the Barn. Fire away. We're going to go around the horn here and see if you guys have anything that we didn't tackle that maybe you wanted to. Fire away.
It's been relatively quiet around Juve. I mean, I'm not considering Pogba that much around Juve right now. But yeah, that's what we're asking for, right? Talking about matches and only matches and not scandals behind the scenes and frustrated players and stuff. Well, apparently Dr. A really wants us to talk about Wea, so let's talk Wea.
First, before we talk about Wea, let's talk about Joya 10 here dropped. What do you guys think of us selling Chiesa for Nico? So Chiesa's coming up a lot lately, especially with tough to crack down low defensive lines and everything, and he's coming up, and they still feel it was a mistake by the club to sell Fede Chiesa. How do you guys feel about it now, looking back in late-ish October?
What was the sale price again?
Pretty much break even. So what, like total 15 total or something?
It was a perfect piece of business because it finally cleared out what I think, and I have no proof of this. I think it finally cleared out the acid in the locker room. I don't think he was causing issues. I just think he didn't get it, and he just didn't fit. I just don't think Chiesa fit with the team, with what we wanted to do. I just think there was issues there. I don't think he was a bad person. I just think it just wasn't a good fit. Clean it up.
Yeah.
Or somebody else.
Trim.
It's funny. I'm kind of just like indifferent. I don't think my feelings have changed either way, positive or negatively towards him and the move. Like at the time,
Definitely
I know we
negative.
kind of all were on the same page and just kind of agreed that, I think it was best for club and player to move on at this point. We obviously know his qualities and what he can do when he's healthy. But the thing is, look, perfect example. He's not playing right now. He's hurt. So, what good would he do for us right now, right? So that's, I think, the biggest thing. So what I would say is my feelings haven't changed, but it's still obviously early in the season. If he comes back and, starts actually playing and producing for Liverpool, then you can kind of say, okay, hindsight's 2020. But I'm good. I mean, we've moved on. I'm not putting as much emphasis on Nico as some people are in the chat. I've been seeing that he's a bust. He's the worst pickup we signed this season so far. Like, again, guy hasn't played all that much. When he has played, I haven't thought he's done that poorly. But again, it's early on, so let's see what he does when he comes back. And
yeah, it's pretty early. Chiesa, I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of feeling. There's a lot of feelings there, and I think it's easy to get emotional. I think it's easy to tie into 2021, where really a lot of that was with the Azzurri, but he did have a good season with Pirlo there. But what are we like? I don't know. There's always two parties in these deals. What is if I'm looking at this, like, at what point do we also look at the players and say, like, if he really had this desire, why does it even get into a final summer? Like, why does it even get to that point if he had such a desire to continue? It's not just all on the club side of it. We had a lot of patience through his injury and everything and trying to get him back for whatever reasons. Whether you want to blame a coach for him not, guess what? That coach is gone too. So Giuntoli decided one way or another, he just wanted out and wanted a fresh slate project. You guys know where I stand. Once it's done, it's kind of done. I don't really look back on players, and there's very few that I would look back on and be like, man, I wish like he stayed. Like, I think back to Tevez, and I'm pissed that he didn't stay another season. Like, I would have loved for Tevez to stay. Fede Chiesa, I'm not going to waste a bunch of time thinking about. And I'm sorry if that rubs many the wrong way, and I loved the guy. I was a big fan of him. I was rooting for him because I wanted the story to be so much different. But honestly, I ain't going to waste a whole bunch of time thinking about Fede. That's just where I'm at. Omer?
Yeah, we had a long discussion about it, you and I, in the green room, I think on Saturday. I don't want to open it up here because it will take a lot of time to explain my position, and people wouldn't like it anyway. But in general, I don't think he has amounted to what we expected him to be, unfortunately. And saying, what do you think about Juve selling him? It sounds like it's only going one way. Like, he wanted to stay and Juve want to get rid of him. You get into the story and everything that happened. That's not the case. So it's unfair to say that Juve sold him, against his will. He wanted to stay, whatever. It just didn't work out. Yeah, tons of mitigating circumstances, Allegri, whatever happened behind the scenes, injuries, you name it. But all in all, it wasn't what we all wanted to be. We were still hoping it's going to happen someday, but Juve could also not let him go for free.
Yeah.
It seems like those were the options in the end, because if this season hasn't worked out anyway, and it wouldn't fit into Mota's system, then it would have gone for free, and we can't allow that.
Yeah. Let's and that's kind of, everyone's got their thoughts with Fede there, but if it was meant to be, it would be he would still be here. So for whatever the reasons are, that's for Giuntoli and whatnot. But again, an OG and a friggin' gangster like Moji recognized the work this team did in the summer and praised the hell out of Giuntoli and company. I feel good, and I'm going to back him in what those calls are. And just, again, we're not behind the scenes. We're not there every day, day in, day out. We don't know what the story is, so we just trust them that they do. But if Moji's backing them and likes the way it's built and says we're building for a cycle, yeah, I think we can all see it. Okay.
Stop thinking about ex-girlfriends, people. Just forget about ex-girlfriends. Move on. Jesus. She doesn't like you anymore.
The chances Juve sign Arda Güler in January from 1 to 10, -5.
Yeah,
-5.
-5 is a good answer.
Yeah, 0.
No chance.
0.
I'll go 1.
Omar, we were talking about that youngster though, and he came out in the news as one that we're keeping eyes on. Obviously, in typical Real Madrid fashion, though, they do have the buyback clause on it, and that's Nico Paz, right? And you were talking a bunch about him. So Juve, he has turned heads and he has turned Juntalis. But again, hard to see anything coming from that with obviously Real Madrid always handling business very well. So they did so on that one. So it is what it is. It's what it is. Thought that was interesting though, that we were literally talking about it that morning, and later that day it's just like boom, Juntalis, and I think it was Skira too that put it out there. So it was interesting.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Shout out to Andrew showing some love for us, all the work we do and keeping them informed. Appreciated. We've got Dr. A coming in here. Thank you for the super chat. All right, much appreciated. Do you think we keep Pogba till March, then decide to terminate his contract? We all know he's one of the best center midfielders in Serie A. Don't you think we rushed it if we terminate? So we did spend some time when the news first bust out talking about it. And man, speaking of emotions, Fede Chiesa and everything, this is a guy, I love Paul, okay? Love him. But again, the situation, everything, I have zero faith in that guy's body, okay? So, yeah, I'm just... if Juve decides they want to do that, I'm fine with it. I can understand a lot of the fans thinking, keep him around, but I'm telling you, from January to March, like, in my mind, it isn't the biggest problem if you wait to see if he can actually physically deliver in training, just simply training with the club from January to March, because he can't actually play until March. I'm fine if they decide, hey, let's see if his body can hold up, because he does have incredible talent. Nobody can say otherwise when it comes to his talent and his play, right? But if he can go through that, I'd be okay. But again, is he going to accept the salary that, in my mind, if you're a 20 minutes a game player and we got to baby you and monitor your minutes, I ain't paying you more than 2.5 to 3 a year, man. That's the truth. Yes, and he ain't taking that.
It's going to be less. So I've been ringing the bell to keep Pogba for a long time. We all know that.
Yeah.
But there was a tweet out there. I can't remember who put it. I know our main account reposted it. It's the salary. It's the plan that in the team that Juntali's building. It's the current lineup. It just doesn't fit anymore. If he was coming back 2 years ago, like let's just say this all happened, he was coming back when our midfield was what it was 2 seasons ago, I think he'd be hard pressed to find somebody to say, oh, for the March to May run, we might need him. But now he just doesn't fit. I would like to keep him. I think he could bring some of the locker room. But I just think the whole atmosphere, out with the old, in with the new, what Juntali's building, unfortunately, he just doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah. Pogba, Dybala, Neymar, 3 players whose extraordinary talents have been marred by injuries. True. And if you go way further back, I mean, Roberto would definitely come to mind, because that guy, if he was never, it would be insane. But Trim, we know you love yourself, Paul Pogba.
I got the kit on. I don't want to turn around, but I am wearing the kit. This is Pogba with the Champions League that he never played in a couple seasons back. Pissed off. He had to ruin this jersey for me. But anyways, that being said, like Skanga, the two Anthonys are aligned here. My heart's obviously saying, yeah, keep him around. Like you said, we got nothing to lose if he could at least train from January to March. But when I start seeing Skira and the big boys putting it out there that they want nothing to do with him. They just want to terminate. Then it is what it is, right? At this point, you got to just kind of let it go. But I'll hang on to this jersey dearly and cry myself to sleep at night. But he ain't coming back.
Frame it. Just frame it.
That's what I got to do. Just
Omer.
get rid of it.
I mean, from a club standpoint, you gotta be mental betting on Pogba's body 10 million a season.
Yep.
Yeah.
What club would take that? What indications do we have that he's going to hold it? When
Chelsea
he
would
wasn't
do it.
sidelined for more than a year, he was still breaking down after every 20 minutes. Like, I'm not taking that gamble, not for the salary he wants. And I mean, it's nice for FIFA, but beyond that, I think he's done. Unfortunately,
I think something that we highlighted a lot with Adrian Rabiot. Okay, I'm going to use that as one example. I'm going to give you more examples, but even Chiesa, going back to the discussion we just had with him, it's always a key indicator if your club's doing the right thing based on who comes out of the woodworks in these situations. Mm-hmm. Who's coming in for Paul right now? Saudi MLS. That is pretty much
France.
What you would expect.
League One.
Okay, yeah. So, cool. Maybe you can go join Rabiot, Marseille there. But, like, honestly, that's a big indicator. It's Saudi. It's freaking MLS. There might be League One clubs there, and then we find out what his actual financial demands are. Mm-hmm. The fact that this guy might have a healthy financial demand. I'm about to get real with Paul Pogba, okay? I'm about to get real with Paul Pogba. The fact that this guy might still have financial demands given everything that's happened and how this disastrous, Pogba situation's gone is actually crazy. The fact that he went rogue with that interview, honestly, it's time to speak out about it. It pissed me off, okay?
I don't have a problem with it.
I love Paul. I love Paul Pogba, and I know all the fans were like, "Oh, he was in the right. He can go and do those interviews he has." Sure, but it's yet another time where he made it about Paul. And that's the part that pisses me off, because the same thing we're just going into now with this doping scandal was Paul Pogba not checking with his goddamn employer about what he's putting into his body. All right? It's just yet another fucking moment where this guy goes rogue and the bullshit just follows him, okay? I love the guy, but at the same time, the guy infuriates me to no end. And this whole disaster of a return, I think, needs to be put to rest.
You're talking like you're married to him.
Yeah, no,
thankfully
that's absolutely true. It doesn't leave him. If it's not the testosterone, then it's not doing the operation in order to play at the World Cup. Then it's a witch doctor. Then his family robs him of his money. I don't know. There's always something. Maybe it's the same case.
Forgot about all that stuff.
And things look like they're going so well. And yes, at 50%, he's better than most midfielders, but he's not even 50% for 70% of the time. Like, how can we trust that? Especially the way Mota plays, high intensity, lots of running.
Quick mass.
Work 60% of the time, every time.
Every time, yeah.
And again, I'm sure that those 10 minutes every 3 weeks are going to be great 10 minutes of football, but it's 10 minutes of football in 3. Again, will his body hold up? But that's it on Paul. We got to wrap it up on Paul, because what a polarizing guy, though, man. I tell you, like, it's
I love him. Don't get me wrong. I love Paul Pogba.
And I love Paul Pogba too, like I said, but he's infuriated me. Miran coming. Oh, yeah, we got to that one. -5 was the answer. Ori, how do you feel about Luiz's house getting robbed? Could it affect him with the game while he's not 100% his right man already? I don't know if... Okay, from the panel here, have you ever been robbed?
No, but I've had a brother-in-law who was.
Okay.
It's serious. It shakes you up.
Yeah, so I've had break-ins to vehicles. I never had a home rob, but I've had close friends and a family member that had their home rob. It's unsettling, to say the least, to the point where some of these people don't want to live there anymore.
Yeah.
You want to move? Yeah.
And then it's like, like it's not the easiest of things to deal with. This happening is not going to help the situation for him. Like, it's not going to help anything. So
no, that's a stretch.
To what effect? Hey, we just have to wait and see. But how do I feel about it? Yeah, it's garbage. It's absolute nonsense.
Par for the course over there.
Like,
yeah, it's usual practice in Italy. It happens a lot more than we think.
We had Roberto Baggio, his home, robbed. He was actually physically assaulted in trying to defend his family and protect them. We had Marchisio. They broke into his house with his wife and kids in there, and that was middle of the night, whatever. Like, this shit is just nonstop. You've got, Lugani. You can look at Napoli's roster year in, year out, and they've got situations like, get your shit together.
Paolo Rossi's house when he was lying in the casket, for crying out loud. Like, what are we talking about
during the funeral?
Yes,
insane, like insane.
Yeah, it's happening in Napoli every Wednesday. Like, Napoli players suffer from it the most.
Yeah, literally.
Sure.
It's shitty. It's shitty. Yeah, Napoli is a whole nother situation. I mean, you got these guys showing up for the unveiling and they're trying to steal the watches off their wrists, for God's sakes. Like,
they stole Spalletti's steering wheel and they brought it back to him
when he won the Scudetto. They gave it back. What a bunch of mutts, man! But like,
the most Italian story I've ever heard.
Crazy. It's crazy. All right, now let's get to this one. This was one of the news bits here, and it is George coming in here with feelings about Xerxes on loan in January. I have only seen, some skid marks on the underpants of the Journalist Society really come out with this one. I'm not putting a whole lot of heat on it. I don't think it's really a situation that's going to open itself up. How do I feel about it? My main concern the entire time has been bring me a vice to Vlahovic, okay? I don't want to wait for Milik in December because I'm still not hopeful of it. How this guy gets a total rush card objective in EAFC 25 is beyond me. Milik of all players. Okay, but nonetheless, it's out there. Have fun if you guys get it. It's a very easy one to achieve, rightfully so. But it looks like a decent card. But give me anybody. Maybe not Luka Jovic, okay? Then I would take the janitor at Continasa. But bring me a Vice Vlahovic. How would I feel about this one? Fantastic if you can make it happen. I don't believe in it. Guys, Xerxes?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Cabal, Kalulu, Conceição was a known entity. Gonzalez was a known entity. But look at Kalulu and Cabal. I have faith that Juntali will find some gem somewhere to bring in January. I don't think it's going to be like a well-known name. I think it's going to be a name that YouTube on the bottom might know because I don't know anybody. I have no idea. But I think it's going to be sort of like a diamond in the rough that he's going to bring in January.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the big thing for me with this is, it's not going to happen in January, but if you bring in a guy like Xerxes on loan with option, let's say in January, then for me, that pretty much, unless he has a poor performance and the fee is ridiculous, that kiboshes David in the summer. So for me, I'd rather Jonathan David in the summer at a cheaper fee because he'll be free. But I mean, who knows at this point? We'll have to just wait and see. But I mean, Xerxes obviously fits the system, but
yeah,
he's not leaving France in January.
No, that's why it'll be for summer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Jonathan David. Well, rumors. Nico Skira yesterday saying that Inter's actually going to ramp up the contacts to try and get maybe potentially him in January. I don't know where they're getting the money from unless they're going to make some sales or something. But all the signs are pointing to Jonathan David would be a summer signing. But again, teams are starting to ramp up. He's on fire. He's on fire. He's red hot. And I said this about Lille. In January, I don't see it happening. And I know in our members chat, a bunch were coming at me saying that it's just, Lille's going to take anything rather than lose nothing. Not necessarily. Right now, they're going to be in a battle to try and get the most out of their objectives this season. If you take away the top producer, they're not going to replace that in January. So financially, if it's 15 million, 20 million, it would be better for them potentially long term to keep him around, bite the bullet, and hit those objectives, because they would gain way more financially in getting into the European play. So I'm not so sure 15 million is going to turn their heads on the top producing player they currently have when they're chasing European placement. That would see them get way more money and be better for them overall. So it's not a guarantee, even if a team comes in January, that they're going to meet the financial requirements. For me, I think he stays put until season end. And why would these teams, especially one like Inter that's got the financial problems around him, spend money when the guy's free in 6 months? I get trying to beat the rush, but you're not going to have a number that I think Lille would be close to accepting. Even though he's on that final year and they're facing zero, they could see more by keeping him and hitting those objectives. So
even getting to the round of 16 for Champions League, that money, qualifying for Champions League next year.
Well, qualifying, and then whatever happens with them next season, they can address David in the summer and they'll have money from that tournament to do. Like, it's not so cut and dry that, oh, we don't want to take zero. You got to weigh out different objectives, different outlooks, different squads. And Lille is kind of like this builder team, and kind of like a feeder team. They're going to have no problem chasing that objective. Is going to be very high for them rather than just make 15 on the sale. So,
well, let's hope he doesn't talk to Jallo. Like the dream scenario would be loaning. Okay. Yeah, the best scenario would be having Xerxes now on loan for the rest of the season, and having a pre-agreement with David for the summer when he's free, and close that. I don't think we can sign Xerxes either way, even if it's a loan. We're not. They just signed him for like 60 million. They're not.
Yeah.
I'm
thinking David's going to be the play. The salary's going to go up. Commission's going to go up. But let's do it. Bring back Rugani in January for the back line. I'm fine with it. But unfortunately, the agent has said it just doesn't seem like that is going to be a play whatsoever.
No,
came out and said it
like a
week after it was out there.
Don't do
that it's done.
Yeah,
Balotelli,
it's
a lot of fans saying Balotelli. You know what was funny? We just heard the other day that Totti's like.
I would take Totti over Balotelli right now.
Would you take Totti over Pogba? This came up. Shout out to Tuna Steaks in our members chat saying, "Hey, would you take Totti over Pogba returning? Totti at his age."
Yes.
How is that?
Yes, I would.
Take Totti?
Yes.
Just for the fuck of it, I would take Totti. Have the shirt, give him the number 10, and then not play him 1 minute.
He'd play more minutes than Pogba for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Man, if you watch Totti and all these like cherries, and he was dropping in on like actual legit indoor matches, like futsal match. The guy, he's got a strike like it's freaking insane, man. And he's like in indoor chipping keepers. Do you know how insane that is to chip a keeper in indoor? And the guy's class is ridiculous. But the fact that we're thinking about it and most likely choosing Totti, and how old is he, says a lot about Paul Pogba. So, it's hilarious. But Balotelli, man, just for the vibes, go to Genoa, man. Not to Juve, but go to Genoa just for the vibes.
Genoa, exactly.
Let's keep it there. Surprise starts. Adzic, any takers? A surprise start today. He's always good for a couple surprises. But Di Marzio nailed the match against Lazio, and I think he's right for this one too. But I'm gonna call one surprise. I don't think it's gonna be Adzic though. I don't think it's gonna be Adzic.
Yeah,
I think you might see a different midfielder than the three that are in there. One of those three midfielders won't play. Fagioli will be in there. I don't think you're going to see both McKennie and Luiz. My guess would be one of those midfielders is different. Do you guys think Adzic might be in there?
I thought he looked good. I haven't seen him play before, but he was
very
in all
small
the right
sample
spots.
size.
Yeah.
I say cameo maybe towards the end, like second half, but I wouldn't start him.
Yeah.
No.
There you go.
No.
There you go. Keep it rolling. How's the knee? Sadly, on this panel, you got to ask who is it Skanga or is it myself?
Can you be more specific? Or
My knees are fine.
My knee's okay. You guys know the drill. Waiting for surgery. ACL gone. Tuna steaks. Links back to Dragusin, Xerxes, and others for January. Dragusin. That was one. Yeah, they little bit of noise made when we moved Dragusin and whatnot. But at that time, he was not going to get minutes to make it worthwhile of staying. Right now, also, I'm really not concerned about the back end, everybody. Like, keep Danilo around. Do not say goodbye in January. Wait until season's end. Deal with it. I think we'll be just fine at the back end. It's really not one of my concerns. Now,
no.
Didn't y'all get a glimpse of Mad Max moment from Malta when he was... I did see that.
That was
last
hilarious.
game.
Yeah. The difference is it was because of the foul on Kalulu.
Yeah.
Like against the other team. Max
and the play was continuing and he went Mad Malta.
Yeah.
We got another madman, Mad Malta. He went off there.
Max did it to Kulusevski and to our guys. He was doing it against the other team. And he was right. Like, I had the same reaction. I had the exact same reaction because it wasn't even called as a foul.
That's brutal. Yeah.
Not a yellow card. He went
insane.
I
was like, kind of getting fired up on it. I'm like, oh, he's got to shut it down. Like, we got to take a look. Like, nothing. And the plays are zooming. And then finally they shut it down. So at live from the regular feed, regular broadcast view, is tough to really pinpoint what exactly went down. I was like, I need to get some type of a closer look. And where the ref was in behind there, he wouldn't have even seen that contact. So I kind of had some level there. But watching Malta like that, that's hilarious. I remember when the summer was here and the talks of the names, right? Conte, Malta, those were the two main ones that the fan base was calling for. A lot on Malta's side, a lot on Conte's side. And I said when the one of the main reasons was the fire from Conte and everything. And I said, you guys are underestimating and downplaying how Malta actually is. He showed that throughout all of his time as a player. I was like, you don't think that carries over and transitions over when you're a coach as well? There will be fire there, and he's shown it. The celebrations in Leipzig there, this now with Kalulu, somebody even touched on it. Like, do you feel like you're one of the players still? Like, because you're not far removed from like a player. He goes, yeah, absolutely, I do. He just says, he's like, yeah, absolutely, I do. I'm with them. They know I'm with them. We are all together. Man, fucking love it. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you like to see. And he had fire at Bologna. Like, I wasn't... It's not Conte fire, but Conte is like top level.
Conte's like almost like crazy uncle overboard fire though sometimes, because it's like, dude, every little minute thing. That's what I like about Malta. It's like certain things when you hit that point, right? Not
Conte
when it's every little thing, it loses its gusto, right? But when you're calculated about it, holy God, is it beautiful? It's beautiful. But yeah, Conte's volcanic. That's a way to put it, man. You can't even make it through some handshakes with coaches sometimes, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Guy's going to have a jammer on the sideline. Like, if I'm going to put a long-term wager out there, it would be that Conte suffers a jammer on the sideline at some point in his tenure at some place managing. He's crazy. Crazy. Love the guy.
If you had the chance to pick, sit next to one coach during a match, who would it be? Full match, sitting on the bench, hearing how he talks.
Like current coach?
Yeah, so let's go with someone from now.
Okay, someone from now?
Do any of them smoke? That's what I'm picking.
Yes.
Who?
The smokers. Whoever smokes.
Oh, you'll have to go to like the Serbian league for that.
Perfect.
Sorry, he's not employed right now.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Man, so it really depends, man. But the guys I'd be thinking of are like, I'd want to sit next to Pep. I'd want to sit next to Klopp. I'd want to sit next to Gasperini. I'd want to sit next to Conte.
Ancelotti.
And because Motta's with Juve, I'd want to sit with him, of course. But those are like kind of the guys I'm thinking, and all for completely different reasons. You know?
I think I'd take Mourinho. Just for the fun of it, because it seems like he's always taking the piss, and I'm sure it's hilarious to sit next to him during a match.
Yeah. And to
Like
be honest,
Ancelotti's a good show too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Pep easily, I want to hear all his instructions. Like, how much can he tweak little things during matches just by saying it to the players? It's insane.
I also think Pep's hilarious when he gets worked up because he doesn't actually feel like he's worked up, but the shit he's saying is hilarious, man. He's like, these people, you think these people all paid to see this crowd? Like, it's funny, man. Like, he's funny to me.
Yeah.
Allegri would be funny too. Like, to be there for one of those rants would actually, like, remember Cambiaso's reaction at the Coppa Italia there? Like, he's just like loving life. He's laughing hysterically. He's clapping. I'm like, I would love to be there for one of those. Xabi Alonso's a good shout too. Good shout there for the coaches. But yeah, it's interesting. But the Mad Max moment from Motta, I appreciate a ton. Alex P, am I going to transition to a 5-a-side? If 5-a-side is for winter, I'm going back full steam, baby. I'll be back stronger than ever. Don't worry. Don't worry. I could arguably still do better with indoor. One ACL. Don't worry about
Don't
it.
take Pogba supplements. Pogba supplements.
Who is the best beard of the AJs? Asking the tough questions. Oh, all right.
Definitely not me because it's got a little patchiness.
I always run it pretty light, so I don't ever really consider myself to have a beard, so to speak. So it would have to be between really Skanga, trim. Omer's got more thicker in the mustache area.
Yeah, I'm kind of working on like a French goatee right now. Since I went bald, it feels like the right move, so I'm going to try it.
Okay.
Love it. Need a cappuccino and a smoke, and you're good to go, man. So,
I think really it's down. It's got to be. I think it's just Skanga for the beard.
Yeah.
Because he goes to the barber for his beard.
Oh,
Skanga puts a
top
lot of
level.
work into this. People, you don't understand the amount of time that's spent in the hair, the beard, everything. Like he's got to get the rewards when they come. So it's Skanga. Skanga. Best mustache going to Joey Cap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that one.
Yeah.
He's rocking that mustache, Ted Lasso style.
There you go. There you go.
But here's a fun fact. The panel already knows it because I told them. There's an Australian band named The Beards. At the time, they had 64 songs. They have more now. I think close to like 80 songs. All of them are about beards. About 80 songs. Everyone is different. All of them are about beards. They're a cool band. They're cool, like rock and roll, indie. Just go check them out. You'll have a good laugh. Watch their videos. They're awesome.
So, Giuseppe Cavalieri, I remember Skanga disconsidered not... Giuseppe Kine, by the way. Oh, my God. If this mutt is in the live chat, I got something for you, okay? Right here, baby. Kine in our chat. All right. Now, I believe it isn't actually the mutt of a prosecutor, okay? That was causing all sorts of grief. That doesn't even understand the rules of what the hell he's talking about. But nonetheless, what I was going to get to is with Skanga disconsidering Napoli before the season because of the beard or not, I want to talk about this. First of all, okay, so we have Napoli here. Everybody's getting a little hot on Napoli, and I'm just saying patience.
Settle down.
I do feel it's going to level off. Bologna, Parma, Cagliari, Juve, Palermo, Monza, Como, Empoli. Can we pump the brakes and wait for the schedule to level off a bit for them to see where great start, but can we just wait a bit? Can we just wait a little bit?
How did they look against us? They looked like a mid-table team against us.
They didn't look like this team that's going to run roughshod on the league. And it isn't going to be roughshod. This race is going to be tight. It's going to go down to the wire. It's going to be a battle. We've got a tough one this weekend, and it's going to affect the posturing at the top there for sure. Let's see what happens. But I'm telling you what, they looked like junk against Empoli. And when we played Empoli, we just couldn't crack them. But we totally controlled and everything. I'm just not sold just yet. So I'm going to actually stick to my guns that I actually think they level off. My call originally was them 4th. Maybe they'll get 3rd. But I still don't see them winning the Scudetto. I don't.
So their schedule upcoming is where it starts to turn, because I believe they've got Inter, if not the week following us, 2 weeks after that, but they've got a pretty tough schedule upcoming. So it will start to level off, or should start to level off around there. But because you mentioned this weekend's game, you had asked us all if we had something to bring up. I kind of wanted to bring something up again. I don't want to look too far ahead because we have to deal with our game today. But
I just real quick before Lecce for Napoli this weekend, Milan, Atalanta, Inter, Roma, all consecutively. Can we just wait to see how that unfolds, and then we'll get a good gauge of where they're actually at? Now, Trim, continue.
So, as we know, this weekend's game is the one that I get up for the most. We're playing our bitter rivals, Derby d'Italia. So, maybe I'm putting too much thought or stock into this, but my early impressions and my early thoughts going into the game in regards to coaching, and Motta specifically because he's the new guy at the helm for us, I really think he has the potential to make a huge statement if they can pull off a win against Inter. Hear me out, because it's something that Allegri hasn't been able to do in the last few seasons when Allegri 2.0 has happened. We've tended to struggle against them. And I really feel like that could be something to help us push towards the title. Doesn't mean we'll ultimately win in the end, because obviously there's a lot of games to play still. But I really think that if we do beat Inter, you know, I was joking about the statue, but the statue's going to start. Let's just put it that way, if we can pull off the victory against Inter. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that would be.
Well, you've got two of the top teams right now, and everyone's battling for posturing positioning. It's always big, no matter what the roster is on either side, for Inter or Juve. It's always a big match. It's a bitter rivalry. The Derby d'Italia, it's huge for whichever team pulls it out. But for Juve, for us, and where we're at, would be massive for this team, considering everything we talk about almost after every match, that we are still trying to find our chemistry. We are still trying to cook. If you pull off this victory, which is a winnable game, it will be a winnable game. When teams play us open and they try to get after, which Inter will, we get space too, and we are dangerous. Everyone knows we're a dangerous side if the space is there. We can hurt you. We have the players to hurt you. This is a big one. It would be massive for us. Yeah. And it could be the one that really sparks that turn, right?
Yeah. No and they are going to miss Çalhanoğlu and probably Acerbi as well. They also have some injuries. I'm happy just getting it off the schedule this early. This is arguably like the toughest match of the season in Italy right now, Inter away. Getting it out of the way early. And maybe if it comes to it, then it will be at our home later in the season if we have to go head to head. Yeah, I'm fine, and a win here would be massive. This team seems built around like positive momentum. Seems to go a long way for teams in general these days. So win against Inter away, massive for the rest of the season.
Yeah. I think I want to finish on Ori's here. Does the fact that the game where we couldn't score in the league versus the best defense except ours add to your confidence in our attack moving forward? For me, I'm just going to say this when it comes to play, because I've seen this meme put out there. Okay. it's the tight 1-0 win versus with Allegri, and it's just a guy looking like a slob, how he's dressed and everything, and then it goes the grinding wins with Motta, and he's in a nice sharp suit and tie, looking good, and it's like we're dolling it up, but it's the exact same thing. It's night and day for me how the team plays.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close how we play under Motta to how we play under Max. What are we even talking about?
They're two completely different beasts, okay? Completely different beasts. And it's night and day. The way we play now, even if we're trying to break this down, think about what these teams are doing to try and stop us from scoring. We are controlling the game, controlling the ball, dictating. As the chemistry ramps up, the floodgates will open, everybody. And when that happens, they're all making these memes, but they're praying they don't see the day that our offense clicks and figures out the bust, because when that happens, guess what? You have this many ways to stop it. And you're either part of the steamroller or part of the pavement, baby, okay? The way we play makes it so hard for us to actually lose a match. Because maybe they'll find one, the other team, maybe they'll find one goal. But to find multiple when you have to clamp down that hard to stop us, I would rather have teams doing that than have the ability to just control the ball for 70% of the game and take it to us and hope we can hold on. It's night and day. Night and day.
Okay.
And I feel way more confident in us playing this way than I do the other.
How many games have we played? 10? 11? 10. Something like that. How many minutes have we just answer this question, y'all out there. How many minutes have we been pinned back in our own end, in a shell, protecting a lead or protecting it?
Not much.
3, 5
Very
minutes?
few.
Yeah.
Very little.
Under Max, we were always backing up.
That's
the
Max's
Leipzig game
way.
was the only one that was there, and obviously look at the situation, and we were down a man and everything, but that was a pretty back and forth wide open game like we expected. But other than that, we've been controlling and we've been dictating. That's how I want to see. And doing that alone makes us very difficult to beat. But like we said, all games are different. When we line up against Man City, that's when Motta's mettle will be tested, because that's where I want to see how we can adapt against a team like that their outset is to control and dictate. Hey, I can't wait for that one. I can't wait for that measuring. And Dr. A, yes, my bad. You wanted us to speak about Weah. Guys, your thoughts on Weah? We just saw him get back into the lineup for the Lazio match, whatnot. You guys know my thought. I put him out as a flop, but what do you guys think? Trim.
I think he's got more to show and more to prove, for sure. You would have thought when Nico went down that if he stayed healthy, he'd get more opportunity on that right-hand side. It just hasn't happened. Nico and Chico, for that matter, with missing the last match as well. But obviously he took a little bit of a knock, so he's taken some time to come back. But obviously his game is speed. Speed down the flank, cutting inside. We see the hell of a shot that he had and he unleashed against Torino last season. I mean, if he could try to take some more shots from outside the area, it'd be great. I mean, I think he can definitely bag a few more goals, but just keep it simple, dribble it past your man, beat him to the outside, cross it into the middle, and that's all we can ask from him. Track back when need be, but he's got more to give for sure.
Yeah, I'd say that's the best way to put it. He's got more to give. He doesn't always take the 1v1s when I feel like he should. That was my struggle with him against Lazio, is he was getting moments, opportunities, but very hesitant. Maybe it's because he just got back. I don't know, but consistency is a thing with him, and I feel like he's pretty fragile in general. Those are my two concerns with Weah. But he started off the season great. He just has to keep it going.
Yeah, I think he still has a lot to offer. I think in terms of crossing, he's actually one of our better crossers. He gets the ball into dangerous positions a lot. That cross to Luis that came out of nowhere in the last match was him. He's still very fragile. Needs to get rid of those pesky injuries. It's not long term, but it's always something small. But I still think he has a role to play, and he will be useful during the
He
season.
has the guy in front of him who's giving him the blueprint. Sal's giving him the blueprint of how to play. Just do what he does.
God, if only all of us could just do what Sal does.
Oh my God.
It's easier said than done. That guy is... I'm so pumped to see him there today. I'm so pumped for this game. We're going to wrap it up on that note. If Weah finds himself in there, do some damage, my man. Do some damage. All of you, I think this game is there for the taking. You saw the predictions. Skanga 3-0. Trimbley 2-0. Omer 4-1. Myself 4-0. Get ready for a beatdown. Hopefully that's it and a big confidence booster for the weekend in the Derby d'Italia. Trim, Skanga, Omer, always an absolute pleasure, fellas. Live chat, drop a like before you say goodbye, okay? Enjoy the match. Unfortunately, there is no watch along. I was unable to pull the strings to make it happen, but guess what? Derby d'Italia, that's going to be on. That's going to be on, all right? So watch along happening for that one. And, of course, pregame show on match day. Take care. Enjoy these Champions League matches now that we're back and starting to do some damage. Like, comment, and subscribe. Listen to Tuna Steaks, the best damn handle out there, all right? Take care. As always, fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. Next up, Stuttgart. Let's make them another victim and meet up tomorrow with a special guest for the post-match podcast. Luca from JFTV coming in to talk Juve Champions League and then, of course, preview the match against Merda. See you all. Take care. Fino alla fine. Forza Juve.